baik tu dia jadi mereka tahu रेडियो फिजी बहुत रेडियो फिजी रोज सुनता हूँ
रेडियो Fiji 2 देश की धड़कन.
In the news tonight, COVID-19 cases go up to 16. 6 Suva families deny COVID-19 screening. And PM labels those found in breach of restrictions an idiotic bunch.
From the studios of FBC Suva, Jamie Toro.
Fiji now has 16 confirmed cases of COVID-19. Prime Minister Vorenge Bainimarama revealed the 16th case is the 9-year-old granddaughter of patient 9, a 53-year-old man who had recently traveled to India. Maggie Boyle tells us more.
It's not the Easter news anyone would want. Fiji recording yet another coronavirus case.
After testing another 32 samples, today we received confirmation of another COVID positive case that we had been anticipating. The 9-year-old granddaughter of the gentleman in Lambasa who traveled from India.
The newest case is the 6th person related to patient 9, the Lambasa resident who was believed to have passed on the virus to his wife, son, 2 daughter-in-laws and another grandchild.
This young girl lived in the Soso settlement. She has been in isolation since the 4th of April. While she wasn't showing any symptoms, excuse me, we knew she had a high risk of being infected given a close contact with her grandfather.
While it appears the risk of spreading has been contained, the Prime Minister is advising Fijians to take the virus seriously, stay home and save lives.
This diagnosis takes Fiji's case total to 16. But given the length of time this young girl spent in isolation and the fact that she wasn't showing symptoms, her risk of infecting others is extremely low.
Fijians with flu-like symptoms are being urged to visit their nearest fever clinic or call 158 for all COVID-19 queries. Maggie Boyle, FBC News.
6 families from Suva have refused screening for temperatures amid the COVID-19 pandemic. Health Minister Dr. Iferemi Mbete says it's disappointing to learn that these families did not allow the team inside their homes to take their temperatures and talk to them about containment measures. Kaylee Vadala with the details.
Please allow the screening team to come and see you.
Disappointed with the actions of some families, Dr. Iferemi Mbete says the services provided by health workers is not a choice.
Our health personnel have gone again this morning to talk to them, because it is important that we screen as much as we can. We also have to be mindful of the fact that under the Public Health COVID-19 Specific Act, there are powers and regulations given to the Permanent Secretary and the Minister for Health in terms of making sure that we protect the health of all Fijians.
Dr. Mbete is warning Fijians to adhere to the COVID-19 directives in place.
This has been done extensively in the Lotoka containment and Lotoka lockdown area, where nearly 60,000 Fijians have been visited and have had their temperatures checked and their history taken in their own homes. The same is also happening within the Suva area, and we ask everybody to support the work that government is doing.
The minister has also stressed that all mobile fever clinic staff have a form of identification.
I'm asking those that want to exploit these efforts by using this opportunity to do whatever they want to do for their own benefit to please don't do that, because this is the matter of public emergency.
The house-to-house visits are done under the extensive comprehensive effort of community screening. Kelly Vatala, FBC News.
Prime Minister Vorenge Bainimarama says it's disconcerting that people continue to disregard the curfew hours and border restrictions in place. Bainimarama says that some Fijians are still taking these directives lightly when the reality is that it's a matter of life and death as we are trying to contain the coronavirus cases. Other than harsher penalties being enforced, the Prime Minister plainly called those breaching the restrictions an idiotic bunch. Maggie Boyle with the story.
126 arrests were made overnight, which comprised of 67 curfew breaches and 56 for social gatherings. The Prime Minister clearly flabbergasted at how some Fijians continue to disregard.
People still take this COVID-19 very lightly. I want to say that previously, in previous days when we had this curfew, I don't know whether we had one in 2006, but 2000 and 1987, that was really nothing, this curfew. But this one, curfew, if you break the curfew, it's a matter of life and death.
The Commissioner of Police equally baffled by the continued violations.
And it's still a concern that we continue to make people, to make arrests with people failing to comply with directives on social gatherings and on the curfew. And we'll continue to produce them in court.
Bainimarama says it's clear a more hard-handed approach is needed.
So we're trying to tell these people that there's no good going out here. But also we may also ask the judiciary to come down very hard on these people.
On the meme labelling those who breach the coronavirus measures, the PM says he prefers the more plain description.
Idiots. Is that something that you would
bunch of idiots, I can tell you that.
Meanwhile, of the recent arrests, the majority came from the Western Division, with 33 for curfew breaches and 24 for social gatherings. Maggie Boyle, FBC News.
Fijians have been asked to honor the sacrifice of those in the front line fighting the COVID-19 pandemic, as well as those assisting in the recovery efforts following Tropical Cyclone Harold. In his Easter message, the Prime Minister says these sacrifices are a true form of love that will bring hope for every Fijian. Apinisa Wangarundovu reports.
Thank you. The Prime Minister says never before have Fijians needed the guiding comfort of the message of love more than today.
While most are at home with their loved ones, hundreds of Fijians are foregoing their luxury to both help us heal from the destruction of severe Cyclone Harold and combat coronavirus, sacrificing time with their families so we have more time with our own.
He asked the people to continue following the law and order in place.
We cannot let the sacrifices of our healthcare heroes, our utility workers, and our disciplined forces go to waste. Today, our love for one another has never mattered more profoundly. Love grants us the strength to honor service with sacrifice. Love is the road that leads to hope.
The president of the Methodist Church in Fiji says COVID-19 and Tropical Cyclone Harold have somehow strengthened the ties between families and the nation as a whole.
Everybody must accept these as a fact of our reality. Despite all these, we are more than grateful, on the other hand, that all worships, prayers and fastings are taken up successfully by our families at this time.
Churches around the country were empty for the first time in the history of Easter in Fiji due to movement restriction put in place to combat COVID-19. Apinisa Wangardovu, FBC News.
Up ahead, aerial survey shows widespread damage. And woman fined for breaching quarantine measures. This and more coming up.
Radio Fiji 1 Nandom.
New Zealand recorded its second death relating to the coronavirus. The woman in her 90s died at a hospital in Christchurch yesterday. She was one of the elderly moved from a rest home earlier this week. New Zealand recorded 44 new and probable cases today, bringing the total to over 1,200. The first pictures out of Kandavu and Vatulele have revealed the extent of devastation caused by severe tropical cyclone Harold. The National Disaster Management Office conducted an aerial damage assessment of the two islands yesterday. An immediate situation overview team, with the assistance of the New Zealand government, was deployed to carry out assessment and verification on the two islands. The NDMO is now working on plans to assist those affected by the cyclone. Meanwhile, reports received by the Fiji Roads Authority reveal the causeway at the Vunisia jetty in Kandavu has washed out. The waiting shed and bollard also sustained damage. Other roads that remain closed in Kandavu include Nambuke Levuira, which has only 8 kilometers of the road accessible from the Vunisia government station to Mokoisa village. The Moani Road is also closed, while the Namara Road is only accessible for 4 kilometers and the Tavuki Road is only accessible by 4-wheel drive vehicles. The FRA says its contractor is working on the temporary restoration of both the jetty causeway and the roads. The U.S. caregiver who breached the 14-day self-isolation instruction has pleaded guilty to her charge and paid a fine of $500. Susana Mborenivalu was charged with 1 count of disobedience of lawful order. Apinisa Wangarandovu with the details.
What else you need? I'm cleared.
60-year-old Susana Mborenivalu arrived in the country from the United States on the 23rd of last month and visited the Registrar of Marriage office in Suva 3 days later, requesting for an urgent procedure of marriage. She was supposed to remain in mandatory self-isolation due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The Ministry of Justice employee who served Mborenivalu on the day alerted the police after examining her travel itinerary. She was arrested and put into self-quarantine at an apartment in Suva and tested negative of COVID-19. Mborenivalu expressed remorse, saying she was not properly informed about the need to self-isolate for 14 days at the airport. She says all she was told was to contact the health ministry if she shows symptoms of COVID-19. The USA resident told the court that apart from the marriage, she came to Fiji to renew her passport. However, the judge reminded Mborenivalu that she was fully aware of the threat the virus has and should have contacted the health ministry for advice if she was unaware of restrictions in place for travelers. Meanwhile, 16 others also appeared in the Suva Magistrates Court today for breaching the curfew and lockdown measures in place amid COVID-19. Most of them were ordered to pay bail bonds of up to $200 before they were released. Others pleaded guilty to their charges and were imposed fines. Apinisa Wangarandovu, FBC News.
The Agriculture Ministry is currently conducting damage assessment for farmers who were affected by Tropical Cyclone Harold. Permanent Secretary Ritesh Das says some farmers are also facing challenges with supplying their produce to the main markets in the Suva lockdown area. Josiah Nandunga reports.
The initiative by agro-marketing will ensure the supply of agricultural produce at markets in the Suva lockdown area is not affected.
This is one of the difficult times with COVID-19 and the cyclone that affected many farms. We normally buy our produce from the Naitasiru farmers, and with this lockdown, AMA has assisted us with the continuation of our business.
56-year-old vendor Serwaia Tuitumba says they save more money as they buy this produce right at their doorstep.
In the first few days of the lockdown, we spent close to $60 to buy our produce outside the Sawani border. AMA has assisted us and they do not put additional costs.
Permanent Secretary for the Ministry of Agriculture, Ritesh Das, continues to refute claims that agro-marketing is taking advantage of this initiative to rake in extra revenue by marking up prices of the produce when reselling them to municipal and satellite market vendors.
This is part of our social obligation to the farmers in the community in this difficult time. And the re-establishment of AMA was done so that the farmers who bring their produce to the border don't see their products going to waste.
AMA will carry out this initiative over the next few days out of the Sawani and the Lena Basin borders. Josiah Nandunga, FBC News.
A manufacturing company has sent its employees on a 4-week-long break. The dire situation has come about as COVID-19 has forced companies to shutter businesses as orders dry up. Kritika Kumar reports.
The employees of Performance Flotation Development Limited usually get 2 weeks break for Easter. However, this year it has been extended.
This year that's going to be a 4-week break. So we've had to pay some extra entitlements to our staff to get them to go on that extended break.
The managing director says they are planning to bring employees back next month. However, it is dependent on their customer base in Australia and New Zealand.
Not a lot of our products that are made here are being used or sold in Australia and New Zealand at the moment, so the demand has actually dried up completely.
The assistant production manager says they don't have much work to do and it is impossible for them to work from home.
Because all our customers are overseas based and they're shutting down, so we don't have much customers at the moment.
Apart from this business, many others have no option but to send their employees home as there is significant reduction in trade and many sectors have been affected. Kritika Kumar, FBC News.
Coming up, Fiji Mbati selection thrown into disorder. and the NRL plans to restart competition in May. This and more after the break.
My name is Neha and I'm from Kadavi, and Mirchi FM, it's hot.
Mirchi FM, it's hot.
It'll be hard to select a Fiji Mbati squad for the Pacific Test in October, considering what the world is battling at the moment. The Mbati is set to play New Zealand and Tonga at the end of the NRL season as they build up to the 2021 World Cup. Plans are in place by the NRL to start competition from the 28th of next month. The Fiji Rugby Union has expressed its appreciation to its national reps who are part of frontline crews attending to their respective daily duties in the disciplined forces. The players are part of COVID-19 operations, manning various checkpoints in the lockdown areas and are also helping in post-cyclone relief efforts. They include firefighter and flying Fijians loose forward Mosese Voka, able seaman and Fiji Sevens captain Melindere Nalangi, as well as National Sevens reps Libai Kanikonda in the police force and Amniasi Tuimamba and Alessio Nanduba in the military.
We're proud of the service our players are providing to the different forces. Tangani walangani ortona sevens men and sevens players. We have our Latvi players who are in the Navy. In the Navy, we have players in the fire department. And likewise, the sevens players were in the army and the police and the navy. We thank them for their service, and we're proud of the service they are doing to the country this time.
Former flying Fijians Lok Tevita Ratuva has been fined $500 for failing to comply with the directions of a medical officer. A few showers were experienced over the southern parts of the larger islands. Mostly fine weather conditions prevailed elsewhere. Looking to the west, intervals of cloud and sunshine with spotty showers this afternoon. Eastwards from Pacific Harbour to Suva, mainly cloudy with occasional rain experienced all day. Up north, a mixture of sun and clouds. At sea, moderate to fresh southerly winds. Winds gradually becoming predominantly southeast from later today and moderate to rough seas. For tides, the next high tide is at 8:26 p.m. with a low tide at 2:15 tomorrow morning. Sunrise will be at 6:15. For tomorrow, cloudy periods with a few showers over the southern parts and interior of the larger islands, Lau and Lomaiviti group, mainly fine weather elsewhere. Temperatures in all major centers will remain in the low 30s. Looking further onto Sunday, expect much of the same weather. Recapping the main stories, COVID-19 cases go up to 16. 6 Suva families deny COVID-19 screening, and PM labels those found in breach of restriction an idiotic bunch. For these stories and others, you can tune in daily to our sister radio station Gold FM to our poll question. This week we're asking, should anyone found breaching COVID-19 isolation restrictions be charged? Visit our FBC website to answer. You can send us newsworthy pictures and videos on email fbcnews@fbc.com.fj or share it with us via our Facebook page, FBC News. That's it from the news desk this evening. From the team and I, stay safe and good night.
Bola, I'm Miri, I'm from Lotoka, and I love Gold FM because they play all my classic hits.
Gold FM, only the classic hits.